For years, I could never understand why people would be so sad for the loss of their loved ones in spirit. Their grieving, causing them so much emotional pain and sadness. Years after, their beloved ones had passed over the veil into spirit. The people I speak of are spiritualists. I stood beneath the spiritualist banner, "There is no death." And I wrongly felt that the knowledge of the truth, "There is no death," would be comforting enough for the pain and sadness of grieving to cease, but because I had not suffered the loss of a loved one, I did not understand the emotional kaleidoscope of grieving. Even when people were getting messages via a medium from their loved ones in spirit, the pain and sadness still remained with them. Whilst in spiritual development circle, an Oriental spirit guide, known to us as Lee, came through his channel, Ian Watts, in trance, as he often did, to give us some teaching of universal life in spirit. In his talk he was saying, we should not mourn our loved ones in spirit, as it is only the physical loss of our loved ones that we grieve for. And this to him, grieving for our loved ones, was selfish of us to do. He accepted that when we first lose a loved one, there should be a period of mourning for the physical loss of our loved ones. He went on to say, our loved ones are now in a realm of light and are living within the divine energy of universal and unconditional love. We should be happy for them and allow them to continue their journey in spirit, as they are now truly spirit. And we should love them as spirit beings, and not selfishly mourn their physical loss. Over a long period of time, I held on to Lee's teaching for years, believing it was selfish to grieve for the physical loss of our loved ones, although I never spoke of his teaching, as I believed it would cause more hurt to those who had lost loved ones. It is my role as a medium to bring upliftment to others through spiritual teachings. But looking at Lee's teaching from a spirit perspective, his teaching is correct, and I believe that this teaching should be given totally from a spirit perspective to those who are emotionally ready to receive it. As I have often thought, we never see things from the spirit side of life and how it affects them in their interactions with us on earth. And in doing so, this makes us the selfish ones. Sadly, my dad passed over the veil into spirit the 14th of October 2015, although his passing was expected. As he was very ill, I stood by his bedside with my mother at Wexham Park Hospital. The doctor had just pronounced him physically dead. I held his hand, and he loudly spoke to me. In my head, in his voice, "Look after your mother," which was totally my dad, as he worships the ground. My mom walks on. My brother arrived, and we said our farewells to my dad. We went back to my mother's. I was stunned. It was as if time had stood still. But life was going on, as everybody and everything was going about their daily business. I raised a glass of whiskey and ice, my dad's favorite drink, to say cheers, thanks for everything to him. Dad's funeral was arranged for the 3rd of November. To give friends from overseas a chance to assemble for his funeral. I took Mum to see Dad in the funeral home. As I stood over Dad in his coffin, there was a real sickening energy of physical death permeating deep into my gut. A feeling that stayed with me for a very long time. My mother said, "It is so cold in here, Elwyn does not like the cold." As she touched his cheek, I said, "Mum, he is not here. This is just his shell." I took my mother home and prepared Dad's eulogy, as I was nominated to give it. As I was used talking in front of people. My family sees, I have my uses. Signs. The week after my father's passing to spirit, I had 3 demonstrations of mediumship to do. I debated with myself whether I should do them or not, as I was an emotional and mental wreck, functioning only to be strong for family and to cope with the rigors of my job. I made the decision to cancel my platform bookings. I knew the churches would understand. Queen was my dad's favorite band. I got into the shuttle bus to go pick up staff. I switched on the radio. The Show Must Go On by Queen came blasting out of the radio. This could only have been my dad, as he was a very selfless man and wanted his children to live life to the full, regardless of him and Mum. You may scoff, but I know this is the truth. I have often thought that the belief, our loved ones in spirit leave a penny when they are near, to be a fairy tale. A few weeks after my dad's passing, I called out to my dad. "Come on, Dad, if you are near, give me a sign." I proceeded to hoover my flat. I had hoovered every square inch of my flat. As I was putting the hoover away, I looked down, and there was a shiny new penny looking up at me from the floor. How could I have missed that? My flat is tiny. I could not have missed it. No, it's just a fairy tale. I called out to Dad again, and I said, if that was you, do it again. In the morning, I walked down the bottom of the stairs, opened the door to go to work, and there was a shiny new penny looking up at me from the paving slab. Now I know spirit leaving pennies as a sign to be true. Realization. My dad makes his presence felt most days. I speak to him every morning, but I still miss him. I know that our loved ones miss us too. I wish he was still here, to talk to, and share a joke with. And yes, Lee, that makes me selfish. I live in the physical world, where we need our loved ones near. We need their physical presence, as much as it is wonderful to receive a message from our loved ones in spirit. Nothing can take away the need to have them physically with us. As a medium, I have given the messages, and watched the tears flow. There is nothing I can do to dry those tears. The spiritualist message, there is no death, has failed. But with compassion and spiritual teaching, we can comfort and uplift. My poem titled Far Away is inspired by Spirit Guide Lee's teaching. A blog by Rowlands.